they think you can't get social media wrong. You put something out there and the world loves it. Clearly, that is not what happened for Justine Sacco this weekend. But if you work for anyone, your voice, you're not an individual. It reflects your entire company. How did this go so drastically wrong? What should have been done?
Well, what went wrong was somebody said something ridiculously awful. And so I actually take a totally different spin on this. IAC and everybody who's watching that's worried about their company and their employees doing the wrong thing, does anybody really think that IAC is in big trouble or any of their customers are going to stop working with them? Absolutely not. Justine's got a problem. Everybody watching who's a human being, forget about your job. What about your legacy? This woman's children, great-grandchildren, everybody on earth, this is her face to the world. So I'm much more worried about legacy than jobs. There's no big corporation that's going to lose a ton of business off an employee saying something silly because, let's call it what it is, there's a ton of ridiculous stuff being said every single day. Humans are flawed. We just have tools now to show how flawed we really are.
Then, Gary, help us understand how to use social media correctly. You are someone who puts themselves out there, not just in their business. You give your opinion. There's a huge risk in doing that.
I think intent matters. You know, I think what happened here was you could look back at the history of what she said, and there was a lot of questionable comments through the years. For me, I'm not scared to share my opinions because my intent is never wrong, right? I may make a mistake, but I think intent is what the driving force behind this is. And then, you know, back to the title of the book, give, 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 and then ask. I think the biggest problem right now, at least from a brand standpoint, you know, for the CEOs and CMOs that are watching this right now for their organizations, they're not giving enough to their audience. It's all about themselves. Buy my book, buy my stuff, watch my show. It's all me, me, me. It's all right hook, right hook, right hook. And when you know a right hook's coming, you're going to duck.
All right, Gary, let's assume you've got a virtual PhD in social media. How did you get it? What is your story?
You know, my story is unique in the fact that I'm an immigrant. I was born in Russia. I came to the U.S. My dad had a liquor store, and I grew up in a liquor store. And I would tell you that I learned what I learned about social media by working the floor of my dad's liquor store.
How?
Easy. All I ever do on social media or in life, or even right now what's going on with all the people in this room, all I'm really watching is people's behavior. I watched how people walked around the store, what they reacted to. It's really salesmanship. It's really psychology. And so all I try to do is think about how do people become liked in real life, and that's what I try to project on social.
Then how do you figure out on social what's authentic and what's not? I am sure with 1 million followers, every day you get people tweeting at you, follow me back, Gary, what do you think about the Jets? What's real? How did you get your authentic voice out there?
I think everything actually is real. I'm not worried about getting got, right? Like, I'm not worried about...
What does that mean?
Meaning, I'm not worried about putting time into people that have only the intent to sell me something or only the intent to use me to get to somebody else. Because I actually think there's enormous leverage in giving first. I think the biggest problem right now in society, let alone the brands that I'm consulting for that are working on social, the whole media world, is that everybody wants things very quickly and, more importantly, are fearful of giving without getting. To me, the leverage of giving first is how I got my voice, is why I have results. I'm not worried if I give, and I don't get. When you eliminate entitlement, you create enormous leverage.
So when GE picks up the phone and says, I'm going to call this Russian kid who learned his skills walking the floor of a liquor store, what is that conversation, and what do you do for a company like GE?
You know, I mean, in 2009, my brother AJ and I started VaynerMedia, and it was because a lot of brands were coming to me and they were asking me, why do you have all these followers on all these platforms, and we're big global brands and we don't have anywhere close to that. And so the GE conversation had a couple years in after we started working with PepsiCo and Campbell's and the NHL. So it wasn't that rogue of a conversation. What we do for GE or any other brand we work with, whether it's Unilever or the Jets, we ask them a very simple question. It's fun to talk about it here in the context of this. It's business. What do you want to accomplish? And then we decide whether Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Pinterest, Instagram, Snapchat, Vine, whatever they're trying to accomplish, which of the platforms can we accomplish that on? And then let's put out content / campaigns that drive that business objective.
All right, you say Snapchat. I dog on Snapchat all the time.
Okay.
Saying Snapchat didn't want to sell itself for $3.5 billion to Facebook. I look at it and say, this is an app for sexting.
Yes.
You disagree?
Yes, an app for sexting is what old white male media decided to label on Snapchat.
GaryVee just called me old white male media. It is
Happily,
my birthday.
by the way. Happily.
It is my birthday.
Happily.
I accept old white male.
Listen,
all right, talk to me. Is a GE going to use Snapchat?
So it's skewing young, right? If I'm a brand that's trying to court 16 to 25-year-olds in any shape or form, you need to be on Snapchat. And the reason Snapchat works is because it actually grabs your attention. While you're looking at that, you're actually looking at it. Everybody's worried about impressions. How many people saw it? I don't care how many people saw it. I care how many people saw it, that cared to see it, and actually consumed it, and that have the intent to act on it. I'd much rather have 3 customers paying me $1 million than 50,000 potential customers paying 0. And so that's what Snapchat does. It forces you to pay attention. You actually have to hold down the button and see it, and then it disappears, unlike Facebook and Twitter, where that content may show up again.